Welcome to the Tupelo regular city council meeting of November the 15th, 2022. This time I have everybody rise and invocation by Rosie Jones and Pledge of Allegiance by Chad Mims.
May we bow our heads? Dear Lord Jesus, we come before you with bowed heads and humble hearts, asking you to give us knowledge and know-how in order to please the people in a way that you see fit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we call the meeting to order and ask Vice President Travis Beard to confirm the agenda and the agenda order.
Mr. President, I would recommend that we confirm the agenda in the agenda order.
Second.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. All in favor? The agenda is approved. Proclamations, recognitions, and reports agenda. Any proclamations, Mayor? We have no Boys and Girl Scouts. We have any employee recognitions. Public recognitions. We'll start with Chad Mims.
I have none.
Janet?
I don't have any.
Rosie?
I don't have any.
Yes, this past the 11th Veterans Day, it was a great day. We had a little thought we were going to have it rained out, but it turned out to be a great event. A lot of people were there, and it was just a great day remembering our veterans. Thank you.
Travis?
I don't have anything.
Nettie?
I'd just like to remind everybody about the Thanksgiving service tomorrow at the Link Center. This is a citywide service from 11:45 to 12:45. And on December the 4th, Mission, Mississippi will be having an event at the Chase Convention Center from 4:30 to 7:30, which is on a Sunday, and it's dealing with race relations and reconciliation, and they invite all the churches and the community to attend this event.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
A few things. As everybody knows, we have a lot of people in town. The Mennonite, North American Mennonite Conference is here, so a lot of people downtown. So if you're driving around, just kind of be cautious and careful of your surroundings. A lot of people from out of town. We just came from a Downtown Association awards. Our very own Mr. Johnny Timmons got the Downtown Association Hero Award for all that he does for downtown. I'll have to do something for you for that recognition, Johnny. And City of Tupelo got something, a most improvements of downtown. So with your help, we definitely continue to make downtown looking better, and that's about all I got. We got a short agenda tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to the public agenda, the public hearings. In the matter of public hearings for lot mowings, do we have anybody here to speak about lot mowings? Come to the podium, state your name, your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Eric Hampton, I don't need 5 minutes, Captain. Appreciate it. Can we just go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I keep getting notices on a lot of the properties that we're flipping in town. And so I spoke to Ms. Ford. She's very nice, explained to the rules. So grass has to be, I believe, 8 inches, right? Or higher. Anyone know?
What's the rule, Tanner?
Less than 8 inches. So I get this nice picture. I'm busy, and I know all you're busy. I come up here tonight because I'm a little tired of getting all these notices, right? So the picture that you send me, waste the city's money and my time, is about 3 inches, right? So this is on the Lawndale property. And we haven't got to it yet. We have been working inside. We've gutted it. We tore the concrete off the place. We're going to make it beautiful. It's going to be one of the prettiest houses around, but I wish they would not put those on there. Now, the real reason why I came, just to explain to you guys that I don't mind following rules. We'll follow them. We pass all our inspections on our buildings but we've got a house on Edgemont Drive. It's 2281 Edgemont Drive. For over 4 years, I know that some of you have been here that long, but I've been trying to get this guy to clean this place up. I spoke with my councilman, Chad Mims. I spoke to him, and nobody's getting anything done. The guy's got a warrant for his arrest, so I don't understand why y'all don't go pick him up. So, if I can get these notices on grass that's less than those inches, why can't I get you guys to come and clean this property up? I've offered to build a guy a shop in the back for free. I've offered to do whatever it takes to help. If I have to follow rules, does my neighbor have to follow rules? That's my question to you, my councilman or you, Mr. Brown.
Everybody has to follow the rules.
I don't know why is this guy for 4 years that I've been chasing you guys still over there with a hazard in his backyard and his front yard? It looks like Fred Sanford's living over there. I spent a lot of money on my house. I love making things pretty, especially houses, and I just want y'all to do your job. I'll do mine. I'll follow the rules. Can y'all do something about that? Since you're doing something about my 3-inch grass on Lawndale.
What's your name?
Eric Hampton, Miss Rosie. Any comments from my city council?
I'll make one comment about the property on Lawndale. The grass that I've seen has been way over 6 inches high before it was mowed, and every time we've got it mowed, we've had to put a sign in the yard to get it cleaned up. And I'm getting comments from neighbors in that area that says we would like to have our neighborhood looking like you want your neighborhood to look on Edgemont or wherever that is. I'm not familiar with that property. But the property I've seen on Lawndale has been way more than 3 inches high. It's knee high or better every time it's cut. And it doesn't look a whole lot better after it's cut because it's left just in a mess as far as I'm concerned about the property on Lawndale.
And I did that on purpose. But the picture
Probably
you sent-
so.
No, I'm very
For a
honest.
guy that like to make things beautiful, why would you leave it that way on purpose? That's
No,
my question.
I let it get high on purpose. But the point is, if I've got to follow the rules, why can't my neighbor? So, but the picture you sent me
I
was
agree
3
with you
inches.
on that part, but right now we're talking to you about your property
My property's in code, sir.
right now.
Tell you what I'm gonna do. Every chance I get to buy a house in this town and flip it and make it great, I will. No matter how mad I get some of you or other won't. I'm doing what it takes with my own money to make money and make Tupelo beautiful. I only ask that you make this guy and every other person that you put these notices out will follow the rules. And we can point fingers all day long who's right and who's wrong. But I promise you everything we're doing is right. I'll take any, I've had surprise inspections. We passed every inspection I've ever filed a permit for, and I will. And if I don't, we'll make it right. I do my job, I want y'all to do yours. You get paid to do this, I don't. I asked Mr. Mims if he'd handle getting this guy picked up. They got a warrant for him. Mr. Newman, everybody's done their job somewhat to help get some things done after I'm chasing you guys around. I'm tired of chasing you. I come today just to be on the record, it's on TV. See if I get something done, because 4 years of chasing the other way, I hadn't done nothing. I love all of it. Heck, I voted for Mr. Mims. I was in that race. I respected him. I didn't say not a negative word about him, and I won't. I respect every one of you up there. And I like y'all, so I just wish you'd do your jobs. Can someone give me some clarity on when we can get that done? Mr. Mayor, anybody?
Tanner.
I wouldn't be up here if it hadn't been for 4 years.
Mr. Hampton, Council, I can't speak for anything that's occurred the past 4 years before July of 2021, but I can tell you that this instance that Mr. Hampton is referring to, Councilman Mills has been on top of it, I've been on top of it, the Code Enforcement Division has been on top of it, and Chief Quaka and his agency has been very helpful. This particular case, there are some legal matters involved as far as the property, who the property owner is. It's tied up in an estate. Mr. Hampton's correct. There was a warrant issued in the case. Since that time, there have been some things come to light about who the actual property owner is, so that warrant is in question, but I can assure you, Councilman Mims and I were actually at the house, last Wednesday. We are continuing to stay on top of the matter, and I can assure you that property owner, at least the address, they are receiving letters just like you've received on your lot number. So we will continue to work on that until the matter is fully addressed and taken care of.
When do you think you can give me an answer when it might be done? Because you told me, Mr. Newman, Mr.
Hey, Eric, your time's up, and he just answered your question.
He didn't, he haven't done anything. Done the same thing again after 4 years, but I respect my time.
He just answered your question, Eric.
I'll handle it myself.
Oh, go for it.
I will.
We don't have any appeals. We don't have any citizens' hearings. Close the public agenda and open the regular session. Action agenda. Item 2, in the matter of an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Tupelo Code of Ordinances pertaining to buildings and building regulations. I have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
A motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Tanner?
Mr. President, we went over this yesterday briefly, but all the council members should have received a kind of a breakdown explaining exactly what this ordinance does. Item 2 and 3 are both, I will go ahead and go through both of those if that's okay with the council. First, what this amendment does under Chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances, it brings a little bit of clarity to the building official role and who that individual is. That being the Director of Development Services or his or her designee, which typically we give that responsibility to the Chief Building Inspector. Then Section 7-147 brings clarity to the License Commission, which is our Board of Appeals for the building codes, and it just clarifies that there are 7 members of the commission. One's a licensed architect, a commercial builder, residential builder, an electrician, a licensed mechanical engineer, a plumber, and we are adding a fire safety representative. And then in item number 3, you'll see that we are requesting to move appeals of the fire marshal from a board consisting of the mayor and the fire chief to the license commission, which is the reasoning for the fire safety representative on the license commission. We've worked with Chief Elliott to lay out the credentials for what that fire safety representative will look like, and also bring a little bit of clarity to the definitions within the code as far as the Chief Bureau of the Fire Prevention is the fire code official, which is the fire marshal. And I believe that pretty well sums it up. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Tanner?
And you're adding what?
A fire safety representative to the license commission, since we're moving the appeals of the fire marshal to the license commission.
And who is the fire marshal?
Right now, we have Michael Montgomery. And there may be a second fire marshal. No, just Michael.
Yeah, I want to get some clear, if a person appears before the, to get approval for a license, a certificate to have any work done, the fire marshal will be included in this if they meet with the license commission. Is that what you're saying?
Well, actually, Ms. Nettie, so when any commercial plans come in for commercial construction, we have on the 3rd floor, we have a plans review team that looks at those commercial plans to ensure they meet all of our building codes. And so that consists of, the planning department, the building department, public works, the fire marshal, and also Tupelo Water and Light. And so under our building codes, the international building codes, there's also the fire code, which the city of Tupelo has adopted. And so the fire marshal oversees the implementation of that fire code. So when we're reviewing those commercial plans for subdivisions, say new residential subdivision, the fire marshal is responsible for ensuring that those commercial plans or that those subdivision plans meet the fire code. And so recently we've had an instance where we thought one of the decisions of the fire marshal might be appealed to the appeals board, and determined that, at that time we realized that the appeals board is the mayor and fire chief, and that's via a ordinance from 1974. We just felt that that was a little outdated and a little too political, and thought it would be more appropriate for those type of building fire code decisions to go to the license, the license commission, which is made up of these licensed professionals.
Okay.
Any more questions of Tanner?
And on D, it states that the mayor he has the power to remove anyone who does not comply with the rules and regulations of this position, right?
Yeah, that's your standard language that's in all of our city committees. If someone neglects their office or, doesn't participate, that's just a mechanism to replace, that position.
Right. So if they don't do what the job requires or do something that they're not supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotcha.
And then the council would have to approve any appointment by the mayor.
Any more questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 3, in the matter of an ordinance amending Chapter 10 of the Tupelo Code of Ordinances pertaining to fire prevention and protection.
I move that we would approve the ordinance amending Chapter 10 of the Tupelo Code.
Second.
Got a motion by Eddie Davis, a second by Travis Beard. Tanner?
Pretty well, I believe, covered that. This is just amending Chapter 10 of the Fire Code, which officially will state that the appeals mechanism for fire code related matters will be the License Commission.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Moving into the routine agenda. Item 4, I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November the 1st, 2022 regular city council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Rosie Jones. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 2, in the matter of bill pay.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Chad Mims and a second by Buddy Palmer, and the bill to be paid tonight by Chad Mims, Travis Beard, and Buddy Palmer. Any
Janet
questions?
Gaston also helped.
Who did?
Janet Gaston.
Oh, Janet came in.
Came in a little late, but she,
All right. Good deal. All in favor?
Yeah, I was.
Motion carries. Item 6, I have approval of advertising and promotional items.
so moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Rosie Jones, and tonight's promotional items are $299 to Mississippi Radio Group for Thanksgiving greeting from the city of Tupelo, $299 to the Mississippi Radio Group for the Christmas greeting for the city of Tupelo, $3,200 to Plant House Printing for rack cards for the promotion of Tupelo retirement, and $250 to the Link Center for the rental for the Thanksgiving service 2022. All in favor? Motion carries. Item 7, I have a motion to approve a budget amendment 1 for the 2023 fiscal year budget.
I move we accept.
Second.
Got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Janet Gaston. Kim?
This is the first budget amendment for fiscal year 2023. This is basically just housekeeping. We're asking to carry over $312,000 worth of Homeland Security grants. Most of those are PD capital, and you'll see that reflected in their budget. There is one item that's for IT that's in the finance department's budget is for $68,432, and both of them combined are $312,000 that we're simply carrying over that were not spent in 2022. The other item is in the capital and infrastructure fund. We're asking to reduce that by $965,020. That's not taking the money from the fund or reducing the money that has been budgeted to go in that fund. We're simply guessed at how much would be left over fiscal year 2023 on projects that were currently in progress. and it was overestimated. We actually got more accomplished in 2022, and we are asking to reduce that by just under $1 million. The money has been spent on the projects that it was designated for.
Any questions of Kim? All in favor? Motion carries. Item 8, have approval to close the Major Thoroughfare Program Phase 6 bank account.
I need to excuse myself.
And I need, Ms. Gaston needs to recluse herself because the account is a Bancorp South and she's retired from there. Cadence Bank, I'm sorry.
I move that we approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Kim?
Yes, the Phase 6, it came to a close in fiscal year 2022. All the projects were complete. We had $743,000 remaining in that fund. Those funds have been transferred to Phase 7. So that money that was allocated for thoroughfares still remains in the thoroughfare coffer.
Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Is she going to be reclused on this one too? Is this?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, Janet, one more.
Just kidding.
Make a motion to approve the closing of a 2011 General Obligation Bond Fund bank account.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Nettie Davis, second by Chad Mims. Kim?
Yes, just like the previous, we require the council to close and open bank accounts. We are done with the GO bonds that were in that fund where they have been expended in accordance with the resolution of intent. But those funds have been depleted and it's time to close that bank account. If we issue any GO bonds in the future, we'll come back to the council and ask to open a new one.
Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Somebody grab Janet.
Yep, you're good then.
Good. Item 10, in the matter of, to have a motion to approve the engineer recommendation for Appalachian Regional Commission Cooper Tire Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Buddy Palmer, and second by Travis Beard. Abby Christian.
Good evening. On our behalf, Three Rivers submitted an application to the Appalachian Regional Commission. This is for a grant for the Cooper Tire Sewer Lift Station and Main Forest Project. That application was approved, and we held a selection committee on 31 October. Cook Coggin is the recommended engineer for this project, and I'm seeking your approval that you approve this recommendation tonight.
Any questions of Abby? All in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 11. I have a approve properties for lot mowing.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Travis Beard and second by Buddy Palmer. All in favor? Motion carries. Item 12. I have all right, this motion is on the table, so I'm going to read it, and if we decide to take it off the table, somebody make the motion, and then we'll go from there. So, in the matter of an ordinance amending development code by amending certain subsections of section 5.1 Belledere Neighborhood Conservation Overlay District, TA 22-03.25. This motion was tabled on 20 September 2022. Do I have a motion to take it off the table?
I move that we take it off the table.
Mr. President, would ask that the council leave this matter.
Okay. Number 13, I have a motion to approve a resolution adopting redistricting criteria for the redistricting of the city of Tupelo's ward lines following the 2020 census.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Tanner?
Mr. President, I'm going to recognize our city planner, Ms. Jeannie Sadley, to discuss this item and item number 14.
Thank you, Chairman. After each decennial census, municipalities and counties are obligated to conduct a redistricting process, and this ensures a balanced distribution of our population between our wards and voting districts. to ensure that we have less than a 10% deviation between our wards related to the population. Maintaining that balance is achieved through an apolitical process known as redistricting, which we're going to move boundaries of wards to include or remove census-designated block-level groups, which is our smallest unit of measure for population. On item number 13, you have before you a resolution to define and guide the parameters of our redistricting process. This chiefly represents regulations and the intent of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and all applicable state and federal laws to ensure the constitutional protection of the one person, one vote rule. Specifically, the resolution that you have before you provides that the ward changes made by the City of Tupelo will result in contiguous and, in as much as possible, plus or minus 5% deviation. We like to stay below the 10% between our ward's population distribution. Furthermore, you'll see in your resolution that this establishes that the City of Tupelo's process will do our all that is in our capacity to maintain that minority wards or minority represented wards will not decrease in number, meaning any wards that have over a 50% population of minority persons will not decrease below that 50% threshold, that our wards will maintain being compact in their boundaries, that all possible measures will be taken to keep intact communities with well-established ties of common interest and association, that incumbents will maintain separation into individual wards, that core retention of the existing wards will be maintained, and that where possible, ward lines will follow natural geographic boundaries such as streets or rivers. These criteria are recommended to prevent dilution of voting strength for any individual resident or for minority populations in the City of Tupelo. This process will be achieved with guidance from the City Council as well as the public to identify our communities of shared interest, and at least 2 draft maps will be presented at a public hearing during a council meeting, and a final map will be provided for vote by the council, and prior to that will be made publicly available toward that final vote for a final board map designating our boundaries. For item number 14, you have before you our proposal from Three Rivers Planning and Development District. This is a contract for us to use them as a consulting group for GIS and technical services to produce those draft maps. And they'll also assist with implementing any of the feedback we get from council and from the public to produce the drafts and the final board maps. Three Rivers will also, as part of that, compile all our data and documentation that we're required to report to the state for their reporting processes. The contract also includes a flat fee of $11,500, which is already included as part of the Department of Development Services budget. And we ask that you approve both these items.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So it talks about the contiguous districts within plus or minus 5% deviation from the ideal. And you said before it was 10%. But are we at under 5% now?
No, we are required to redistrict when that percent deviation between population from our 2020 census numbers shows that we're over 10%. So that is when we're required to redistrict. We have as much of a deviation as 17% now, based on our new population numbers. So the law requires we be within 10% of a deviation. But ideally, you want to look at that as 5% plus or minus. So we still stay within the 10% deviation, but we'd like to not go less than 5% or more than 5%, if that makes sense, the 10% total.
Okay.
Any more questions of Jenny?
I have one. Do we know now the wards that have a discrepancy?
We do, and gracious, I am so sorry. I could tell you those off the top of my head, and I don't want to miss.
But not all wards fall in that category, but some wards do.
We have 3 wards, and I'm sorry that I can't quote them for you right now, that are outside of that 10% deviation. Typically, when you have to move population to satisfy that statistical boundary between the two, then you're going to have to probably rotate all ward boundaries.
Yeah, Councilman, I can share that Ward 1 and Ward 7 saw the greatest deviations, and they were significant. And so those will be the two most challenging wards to even out. But we recognize on the front end that will be our challenge. And very much appreciate Three Rivers for being willing to work with us, partner with us on this task, and ask to approve that project.
Any more questions? All in favor of, let me find myself, of adopting the redistricting criteria for redistricting City of Tupelo's ward lines following the 2020 census? All in favor? The motion carries. And then item 14, motion to approve a contract for professional service between the City of Tupelo and the Three Rivers Planning and Development District for the above, what we just talked about.
I'm sorry.
Got a motion by Buddy Palmer.
Second.
Second by Janet Gaston. All in favor? Motion carries. Item 15, in a matter of approval of the Tupelo Park and Rec Department Advisory Board minutes for August 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Buddy Palmer, a second by Janet Gaston. All in favor? Motion carries. Item 16, in the matter of approval of a contract for the skate park.
So moved. Second.
I got a motion by Janet Gaston and a second by Travis Beard. Alex.
Yes, this is the next step with the skate park project, and just bringing forward to y'all tonight the contract, and just asking y'all's approval for that so we can still get and move on forward. Also, I think we added in the agenda as well the certificate of insurance and also the performance bonds as well.
Any questions, Alex? All in favor? Motion carries. And item 17, in the matter of approval of amendment to the Daybright Signify Threlco building lease to provide option to purchase facility if approved by the Mississippi Development Authority.
Move to approve this amendment.
I'm a second by Ned. I got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Nettie Davis. Ben Logan.
This, the Daybright building was built in 1947. When Daybright Lighting came to Tupelo, it was akin to Toyota company, because it was the first manufacturing facility after World War II. They became Emerson Electric, then they became Capri Omega, then they became Signify, and they made lights there for almost 74 years. And when they shuttered it in 2021, it was the last United States light making plant the last light making plant in the United States. So back when we started, the city started with the plant in 1947. We took out industrial revenue bonds and built one of the buildings out there. Over time, we took out more industrial revenue bonds and built additions to that building and facility. And so all those industrial revenue bonds have been paid off. Mr. Jim Threlkel purchased, when Signify let us know that they were going to be closing the operations there, Mr. Jim Threlkel bought a portion of the facility that was owned by Signify, and he assumed the lease that we had with Signify and has been paying the rent on the building, the rest of the building, the one that we own. He has filled it up, Johnny, I think pretty much 60 or 70% of that building is now filled, in addition to what he had bought from Signify. But these leases, way back when, some of them had options to purchase at the end of the lease. Some did not. This particular lease did not have an option to purchase. And so Mr. Threlkel has approached us to amend the lease to allow him to purchase, have a purchase option on that part of the building or facility. This has to be approved. If the council approves it tonight, we have to send this to the Mississippi Development Authority. Most of those leases, they were written so far back in time that they had to buy out for $1,500 or $10,000. We just went through a similar procedure with Leggett and Platt. We basically made them pay a year's lease on the building, which was about $10,000, and not contest any of the assessments over at the Chancery or over at the tax assessor's office on what we would be bringing in tax revenue when they bought it. So this particular consideration on this purchase is a like-kind exchange, and what that is the building's worth X, and we're taking a piece of property in consideration of it that's worth X as well. We're looking at swapping it for this property back here to the south of us on Elizabeth Street. It's 17 acres. It blends in well with the rest of the downtown development and Milltown development. And there's been appraisal on that, and it's approximately $1.6 million that property is worth. And so we get some property that we can develop into something else. Mr. Threkel puts this property on the rolls, on the tax rolls. We get taxes from it, and 75 years later, we keep that factory or somebody working down there on South Green Street.
Any questions, Mr. Logan? All in favor? Motion carries. We have nothing on the study agenda. I have a need to determine if we need an executive session.
I move that we have a need to determine a need for an executive session.
Second.
I got a motion by Buddy Palmer, a second by Travis Beard. Mr. Logan, do we have a need for an executive session?
Yes, we do, Mr. President. I mentioned last night we had two items. One of those is not matured enough to come to us tonight, but we have one item that involves the purchase of real estate, and that is an appropriate item for executive session.
A need's been determined, therefore I make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Oh, well, I can't make a motion.
I move that we go in executive session.
I got a motion by Nettie Davis and a second by Rosie Jones. All in favor to go into executive session? Motion carries. We are now in executive session. Mr. Logan, who needs to stay? And will we take action when we come out?